this one was floating out there yesterday. KD to Toronto, one of Broussard's all-time favorite cities. Woj reporting the Raptors are lurking in trade talks. Toronto believes they can put together the best package of assets for Brooklyn. We got Antoine Walker back with us. Twan, would Toronto be a good landing spot for Kevin Durant?
Well, let me get the first say this about KD. I think any spot, KD going anywhere would be a great landing spot for him. Obviously, KD being a terrific talent. Toronto, yes, because it's always difficult for them to get superstars. And, you know, Canada, even though I like Canada, it's one of my favorite cities to hang out in. But for some odd reason, superstars are not attracted to that city to go play there. Maybe. And it's weird, but I think if they have an opportunity to put together a package that can send them there, I think it's great. But you got to also make sure that you keep a couple key pieces around them too. I mean, I wouldn't want to give up a Scotty Barnes, a Fred VanVleet. I mean, I want to make sure that I got the right pieces around them. Maybe even trying to keep Pascal Siakam too, as well. So you can play some small ball. You have some two lengthy guys that can play probably a little 4 and 5. So it just depends what type of team you're going to put around them. But I like it. I like Toronto making a big move for them and giving us some key assets and some picks to play there because it's very difficult for them to attract, you know, obviously big-time free agents. And we saw Kawhi Leonard get offered everything in the world for him to re-sign there, and he moved on to L.A. Right. So that's something that you got to think about. Playing in Canada. So if they have an opportunity, being that KD's locked up for the next 4 years, I would take that chance.
Yeah, and listen, maybe Kawhi regrets it. Kawhi had a chance to have a whole country to himself, and instead he got, you know, second place in his own city. That's tough. Sorry, New Balance. But here's the deal, Brew. First of all, let me shout out Masai Ujiri, because the only reason the Raptors are in play here is because Masai just nailed the Scotty Barnes pick. People were surprised when Barnes went for it. They thought that Jalen, the kid Orlando took, Jalen Suggs, who was going to go for. He took Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes wins Rookie of the Year. Here's the and listen, I think Toronto's a great city. And people, I know it's a different country, but barely. It's not Vancouver where it's super far away from everything. They speak English. It's one of the foremost racially diverse cities in all of North America. Like, I mean, people act like going to Toronto, it's like, oh my goodness, they sent me to Wembley. Like, no, it's like 90 minutes from where I am right now. So it's not, but here's the problem for the Raptors, Brew. In order to get him, I think they have to trade Barnes and Siakam. So is Durant, Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent, and OG Anunoby getting out of the East? Maybe. So I just don't, the Raptors as presently constituted, if Durant could sign there and just be added to Barnes, Siakam, and those guys I mentioned, that team can win the title. Because that's essentially what happened with Kawhi. They gave up DeRozan and Filler for Kawhi. But they would have to me, give up their two best guys in Barnes and Siakam with respect to Fred VanVleet. So I don't know if it would be a good landing spot for him as far as his chance to win the title.
Yeah, look, if I'm the Nets, I want Scotty Barnes. Nick, I love the pick at number 4. I loved him at Florida State. The interesting thing for the Nets is he's very similar to Ben Simmons. He does everything you'd want except shoot the three well, right? He can play make, he can defend, he's long. Now, he will shoot it. He's not afraid to shoot him like Simmons, but he just isn't good at it at this point, 30% last year. But that would be the guy I'm zeroed in on. And, Twan, you touched on this. See, I don't think KD would want to go to Toronto. And you're right, Nick. I visited there many times. Obviously, I was there covering the league. Great city. But, Twan, you know, it's not America. And you feel it when you're there. I'm telling you, especially as an African-American, it's a different situation than African-Americans are used to being in. And I've talked to people in that organization pre-Ujiri about can they keep African-American superstars there. Tracy McGrady left. Vince Carter left. Chris Bosh left. You mentioned Kawhi. I don't think KD would be happy there, and that would be a problem. That's why, to Ujiri's credit, he's made them an international team, right? All the best players they have tend to be the international guys or DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, who weren't superstars. And so I think that's where maybe a Ben Simmons, if he plays well, would they be interested in a Simmons trade or Simmons tied to Durant? So I don't think Durant will want to go there. But if they could get him, sure, any team with Kevin Durant is going to be in the mix.
All right, I'm going to say I think he should go there. Or not should, but I think it would be an interesting destination for two reasons. And we talked about the leadership of the Raptors with Usai and Nick Nurse. So they've got a championship resume already. The other thing that I think is interesting, the fans in Toronto. There was not only we know all of Jurassic Park and they're outside and they're electric, but when they got eliminated by the Sixers, and it was a nice little series, but we didn't expect the Raptors, right? That stadium was everybody was still there and they were cheering on almost like it was a college environment. I thought it was one of the most impressive things where compared to what KD has dealt with in Brooklyn, where there's less electricity in a Nets playoff game than there is outside of the Garden when the Knicks are 2 games above 500. I think there's something special about the Raptors in their relationship to the country as a whole.
I hadn't thought of it.
Cannot be this guy that wants to join a superpower team that already – Phoenix won 64 games last year. You don't want to do that. You join a team that won 73 when you went out the first time. Let's just lock into a team that maybe can add another superstar and you can compete. Be a competitor. You're too good of a player. You don't have to join a team with two, three, 4 Hall of Famers. You don't have to join that, KD. You are a prime player. You are a top 10 to 15 player to always play in this league. Just do that. I'm getting frustrated when I hear KD talking about Golden State, Phoenix Suns. No. You're too good for that, big fella.
Swan, man. Great pep talk. I mean, I wish I had KD's skills because I feel like going out and playing right now. That is awesome. I hope KD sees that because that should motivate him to do what we all want him to do. Now, you and Nick, I agree with a lot of what y'all said, but a couple small errors. Nick, when he was going off on you know who else doesn't want to see KD go to the Warriors? He forgot one guy. You know who else doesn't want to see KD go to the Warriors? LeBron. Because Nick is convinced that when Kyrie gets there, he knows how nice the Lakers are going to be, and he don't want KD and Steph derailing that. All right, so that's the one thing. And then, Twan, I love the speech. I loved it. But I thought you went off when you said, I get what Brooklyn, you don't want to say. No! That speech should get him to stay in Brooklyn. It should get him to drive over to West Orange, New Jersey, and see Kyrie. I know he's in L.A. now, but do what you got to do to get with Kyrie and say, hey, let's run it back. We can win a championship, brother. We can do it. Where's he going? It's a better on paper that he has more to work with than Brooklyn. Where?
Doesn't exist.
Nowhere. If he can get Kyrie to play this year, then they got a chance right where he's at. The West and East are tough, but that's all I'm saying. Wow. So Lakers would be obviously great, but I like to see KD stay right where he's at. No, I don't want to see him in Brooklyn. I don't want to. I'm getting my segments messed up. I don't want to see him with the Lakers, although I wouldn't hate it with the Warriors. I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it.
He's everywhere.
I wouldn't hate it if Kyrie goes to the Lakers because then it'd be a great rivalry. That's the only thing I'll say about it. But overall, no.
Okay.